Hello dear listeners, welcome back to our YouTube channel Reddit Audio Tales. So let's start today's story. I arrived home on a Friday night, thinking that after a tough week on the flight line, I could enjoy myself in the company of my pretty wife. Every kid's out of the house and more or less on their own, after 22 years of marriage. Maybe we could go out and have a pleasant evening. My name is David Collins, mild-mannered A&P mechanic and crew chief of arrivals and departures. Day shift for United Airlines, after 25 years of working the garbage shifts. My wife Judith Collins was the charge nurse at Central Hospital, day shift, labor, and delivery. Both of us making good money, me just a little more than our union. No, but comfortably upper middle class. I pulled the pickup into the garage in its usual spot and closed the garage door. If we were going out nice, it would be in our Lincoln Navigator. If it was country/western night, my F-250 was the chariot of choice. The night would be my wife's choice, wasn't it always? Either way, it didn't bother me. If Mama's happy, Daddy is ecstatic. I walked into the kitchen from the garage and perused the mail on the kitchen table. I heard a noise upstairs, and then the padding of little feet coming down the steps. My attractive 42-year-old wife entered the living room in a shorty robe that never ceased to get me excited when she wore it. "Oh," she exclaimed. "You're early." Ah. I didn't expect you for another hour or so." I looked at my watch and realized I was early. But not that early. "What gives? Where are we going?" "Well, I'm going out." "I don't know what you were doing." "Okay. My weekend just went as shit." "What do you mean?" "Going out." "Where? And with who?" Her eyes strayed to the small overnight bag at the end of the couch. "I have a date with William Strathmore. It's for the weekend. I'll be home Sunday night, and we will talk about it." What the hell did she just say? I thought. I have to finish getting ready. She turned and raced upstairs, and I heard the door slam. "The hell you will," I said. My first thought was I needed reinforcements. I pulled out my cell phone and speed-dialed my daughter. "I was not going to be made the bad guy by he said," she said. "Hello, Daddy. What's up?" She answered cheerfully. I grabbed her mother's purse and emptied it onto the coffee table. "I need you to get over here right away. Your mother hurt her head, and she needs us. I've got to go." "Daddy? Dad?" I heard as I hung up. The next all was to my number one son. He got the same message with the included. "Call your brother and tell him to get here quick." "Dad? What the hell?" As I ended the call, speed dialed her parents and said the same thing. There was equal confusion at their end, and some yelling as I disconnected the call. Judith's pocketbook spilled the usual contents: credit cards, keys, a 12-pack of Trojan condoms. I had had a vasectomy, and a confirmation email from the Marriott Hotel in Kindle with room 703 to 710. The hell you will, I thought. William Strathmore was one of the pediatric surgeons at her work. I had met him at the hospital Christmas party several times in the past 5 years, and the guy was slimy. And that was the best thing I could say about him. His wife was drop-dead gorgeous, but I got the impression she had had it with him. I confiscated her credit cards and her car keys. Then I took the email and put it in my pocket. Just in case. I picked up her cell phone and unlocked it. Her code was our anniversary date, and the number 3 for our children. Security. She was still busy upstairs, so I got a hold of the emergency call list from her job. And looked up the good doctor. His cell phone would not help, but his home phone might. I dialed it, and after 2 rings, someone answered. "Oh, honey, I was waiting for your call. I don't recognize the number, though. Is everything all right? Is this Mrs. Strathmore?" I asked. "Yes, who is this, please?" "This is David Collins. My wife is a charge nurse at the hospital where your husband works." I don't know if you remember me. Yes, Dave, as a matter of fact, I do. My husband and I were talking about you and your wife a couple of nights ago. I was expecting a call from William when you rang. What can I do for you? So your husband is not home? I asked. No, he's in Boston at a surgical conference. Is everything all right? Look, Mrs. Strathmore, I don't know how to say this, but I don't think he is. I just had a confrontation with my wife, and she told me she was going out on a weekend. At the Marriott in Kenilworth, ending on Sunday night. What? What are you saying? I think we are both being lied to. I have an email confirmation for the rental of 7 adjoining rooms on the 7th floor. From today through Monday. I saved your number, Mr. Collins. Let me get back to you. I had had enough of this bullshit. I looked on the emergency call list and found the listing for the head of HR at the hospital. Corinne Adams. I knew her. She and my wife were good friends. I knew her husband. He was a police detective sergeant. I dialed her cell. Almost immediately, she answered. Hello? Who is this? Corinne. This is David Collins, Judith's husband. I heard. Oh, shit. Under her breath. Yes. Dave. What can I do for you? Definitely rattled. I think there are some improprieties going on between Dr. Strathmore and my wife, and I want it investigated and stopped. I'm sorry. Dave. I can't talk now. I have to go. Click. That was weird. Almost instantly, Judith's cell phone rang. On the third ring, with my stomach churning, I answered it. Without waiting for me to say anything, the caller started. Judith, he knows. He knows. Everything. What did you say to him? Then I shit on her parade. Not everything, Corinne. But I'm getting closer. The shrieking gasp for breath on the other end was most enlightening. Goodbye. Click. I immediately looked up her home phone and dialed it. 4 rings and a man answered. Look, I don't want to upgrade my cable service. Jerry, it sounds like you're having a bad day. Who is this? Dave Collins. Judith's husband. Yeah. Nothing but sales calls and spam. What's up, Dave? Is Corinne at home? No. I'm babysitting this weekend. Corinne's at a team building weekend sponsored by the hospital, down in Philly. Why do you ask? I took a deep breath and told him everything I had learned and suspected. And I suspect there are more than the 3 of them involved. There was silence on the other end. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I don't know what I'm thinking. But I know one thing. She isn't leaving here tonight, even if I wind up in jail. I'll get back to you if I find out anything. Don't do anything stupid. Jerry was a cop and I could hear the wheels turning. Then Judith came down the stairs looking like a high-price call girl. Red silk sheath dress. Cleavage almost to her waist and split up the right side, clear to mid-thigh. She saw her pocketbook dumped on the table. What the hell? I have to leave here and you dumped all my stuff out. She started to pick everything up and I shouted, Oh, I know you don't. You're not going anywhere. Now shut up and sit down. She quailed and said, You don't own me. I can do anything I want to. Is that a fact? Well, then, so can I. How's this? I reached up and grabbed the plunging neckline on her dress, ripping it downwards. Suddenly she was basically naked, standing in her open cup bra, French lace garter, belt and her lace-top smoky gray seam stockings. She screamed and wailed my dress. No, which it's not your dress. I bought it for our 25th wedding anniversary, along with most of the underwear you're almost wearing. If you're going anywhere tonight, it won't be in that dress. Then my cell phone rang. Hello, Dave Collins? This is Mary Strathmore. I'm sorry to tell you, you were right. I called the police and reported the car stolen. I had bought it for him, and it was registered in my name. They pulled him over about 5 minutes ago. He claimed that he was my husband and that he had a right to drive the car. Through a strained voice, she chuckled. They called me from the spot of the traffic stop and told me what he said. That he was my husband. I could hear him in the background when I told the cops it was impossible. My husband was in Boston. The creep gasped and said he wanted a lawyer. I have to go down and fix the mess. He has been arrested and the car impounded. Tell your wife I'm coming for her next. We have been on speakerphone as soon as I realized who it was. Judith gasped and screamed. What did you do? David? Damn you. Right about that time, my children showed up and blew through the front door. Dad, what's going? Mom. Are you all right? Said Dave Jr. Number one son. My daughter Haley rushed in and went to her mother's side. Are you all right? Mother? What happened to your dress? Your father ripped it. All eyes turned to me with murder in their hearts. I was not about to be cowed by this. Michael, son number 2, shut the front door. What the hell? Mom? What did you do? Tell them why, Judith. Go ahead. Why do you have a 12-pack of Trojan condoms in your purse? Are you going to make water balloons or what? I don't know where they came from. They aren't mine. Judith said in an almost unhearable voice. And where were you going? A weekend of sexual excess without your husband. Isn't that what you had in mind? I can do what I want to. It's my body. As soon as it came out, Judith realized what she had said. In front of her children. In a more subdued voice, she said, Well, I can. Young Dave rolled his eyes and went into the kitchen for something to drink. A few minutes later, he returned with an envelope. Here, Dad, it's addressed to you. He looked at his mother with contempt on his face. Judith shrieked and came up off the couch. The remains of her dress falling to the floor. Don't read that. She yelled. Haley rushed to help her mother with her lack of modesty. Shut up, Judith, and sit back down. I said. I open the envelope and read. My darling husband, my sister is caring for mother and needs some help. I'm going to be with him this weekend and we'll be home on Monday evening. Kisses and hugs, Judith. The kids looked at each other and didn't know what to think. I realized she had written the note before she had confronted me. Her confusion and panic would be her downfall. Then, as if the fates were eating popcorn and watching the show, the front doorbell rang. And before number 2's son, Michael could open it and rush Judith's mother and father. Judith, are you all right? Said her mother. Her father roared. What's going on here? Judith passed out. Hi, Mom and Dad. Welcome to Shitstorm Central. Your daughter just managed to destroy our marriage and probably ruin her life and career. I FIO'd. Her mother and my daughter were trying to revive Judith and her father was doing a slow burn. She brought them up to date on what had transpired and the atmosphere got colder and colder. About then, Judith came to and looked around. In hysterics, she begged her mother to help her. Help? You want help? How about we call your sister for help? You are going to help her with your mother. Maybe she can return the favor. With that, I handed her father the note and dialed her sister. As he read it, the phone rang. Hello? Is this David? Yes, Mavis. How's it going? How is Mom doing? Is she all right? Oh. Yes. She's doing fine. Judith is really a big help. I don't know what I would have done without her. Can I talk to her? Please? I asked. Oh. Well, she's busy right now. How about if I have her call you back in a little bit? Mom grabbed the phone and snarled at her other daughter. That won't be necessary. You simpering shithead. Mom screamed her hysterical sister. Judith broke down again and tumbled to the floor. She now is almost totally naked in front of her children and her parents. Don't bother checking on my health again, Mavis. She ended the call amidst strangled screams from daughter number 2. About that time, my phone rang again. Hello? I answered. David? This is Jerry. He sounded like I felt. You were right. I got a search warrant for the 7 rooms at the Marriott. We rated them based on the missing persons warrant I had sworn out and found 12 other individuals, including my wife. Female doctors for female nurses, and 1 other female HR team member. And my wife. I'm sorry, Dave. Really sorry. So am I, Jerry. But it is what it is. Thank you. I turned to my soon-to-be ex-wife. Get upstairs and put some decent clothes on. Then get out of my house. She dragged her sniveling bum to a standing position and turned to go upstairs. She stopped and said, Please don't throw me away like this. Oh. You mean like you threw our marriage away with your... It's my body. I'll do what I want, bullshit. I have been tempted like you wouldn't believe. I could have screwed the little waitress at the diner where we used to have coffee after the night shift. I could have had the woman at the Lincoln dealership where we bought the car. Hell, your own sister even came on to me. But I was in love with you. Which? And this is the thanks I get. Get out of my life. Which? She totally lost it and turned and fled upstairs, losing 1 high-heeled shoe in the trip. Silence ensued in the living room. Then my daughter said, I'll go make sure she doesn't do anything stupid, Daddy. Otherwise, I won't be able to be disappointed with her for the rest of my life. She came downstairs about 30 minutes later with a suitcase, dressed in jeans and a sweatshirt. Her makeup and hair were a disaster. My oldest son stopped her on her way out. Don't worry, Mother. Adrian and I will schedule the wedding so that it won't interfere with one of your sex fest. Not that you'll get an invitation. Dad can bring a new girlfriend. Adrian was Dave's serious girlfriend, but we didn't know how serious. Until now, Judith had stopped at the front door and lost it. Her mother ushered her out. Her father turned to me. Anyway, past all this? She obviously needs some help, but it doesn't seem like anything happened. She can talk to my lawyer about it. Remember, son, she loves you. I looked him square in the eye and said, funny way of showing it. The funny thing was that they all threw the same shit out. When sending adults, not doing anything wrong until they got caught, then it came to light that the good doctor had used a company, hospital, credit card to rent the rooms and pay for the booze and food for the weekend party. The hospital tried to dodge the publicity, but 8 of the participants were listed as being on the clock or at some bogus official seminar or hospital function. When this came to light, several marriages exploded. This was not the first party, but it sure was going to be the last. I filed for divorce, but I'm basically a mild-mannered aircraft mechanic. Remember? And I loved her more than my luggage, as the movie line goes. So, I let it drag while she went to counseling. The kids were there for me and thought that at least I was making an effort. But it hurt so much, and it just came out of the blue. How could I have been so blind? United Airlines was very sympathetic, and I got extended medical leave. She lost her job, along with everyone else involved. The good doctor was let go, and then sued and prosecuted. Corinne lost her job, as did her number 2. A severe nursing shortage occurred, and several doctors' positions opened up. My wife was the last recruited member of the sex club, as they were looking for some fresh meat. She had been noticed for quite a while, and Corinne worked on her, saying she owed it to herself that it was a lot of fun I would never know. And besides, lots of husbands got off on their wives screwing other men. It took 6 months, but they finally convinced her. It took more than a year, but I got divorced. I sued the hospital and Dr. Strathmore. I had to get in line behind his wife's divorce suit, but I was ahead of the other aggrieved parties. Between the two of us, we cleaned him out. I took my settlement and divided it equally amongst the remaining husbands and wives. The hospital was not so lucky. We settled out of court for 6 figures and a sealed settlement. The rest of the plaintiffs got a total of 7 figures and sealed reparations. My sister-in-law was not welcome anywhere. I don't know if her parents talked to her yet. I was lucky with the outcome. The way it all came out. The fact that my mind hit on all 8 cylinders during the whole incident. And the support of my kids and my friends. I didn't think I had taken my marriage for granted, but maybe I did. About 8 months into the shitstorm, I braced the doctor coming out of a gym he attends. I beat the living dog shit out of him, breaking 3 fingers and crushing one of his balls. His good looks no longer exist. Lucky for me, I was in the company of a police officer at the time. So life goes on. I informed him that he should have worked for a living. Maybe he could have put up a better fight. Yeah. I know. Very tacky. Tough. Don't mess with my wife, and I will remain mild-mannered. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.